Madam President, this amendment is real simple. It's about the Coastal Impact Assistance Program, CIAP, which was established in the Energy Policy Act of 2005. This program is very important for energy-producing states, and it takes some revenue from that energy production and leaves it in those states to deal with the impacts of that energy production. Problem is, that funding was supposed to be distributed to these states from 2007 to 2010. So the entirety of it was supposed to be distributed by and through this year. But that hasn't been happening at all because MMS has added a whole additional bureaucratic layer to getting the funding out beyond that which was talked about and established in the statute. So, Madam President, my amendment is very simple. It would get rid of that bureaucratic layer. It would still retain oversight. It would still retain all the protections of the statute, but it would streamline the process so that this funding actually gets out to the states as intended. It's way behind. Rather than 100% being distributed to the states by this year, they've only distributed 15%. So obviously we're way behind the 8 ball, and we would accelerate that. And this is important. You know, one of the crucial areas that this Coastal Impact Assistance Program can help with in my state is related to hurricanes. All sorts of uses, mitigation, emergency preparedness, hurricane evacuation routes related to hurricane. Now, just yesterday, hurricane forecasters predicted, unfortunately, that 2010 was going to be a very severe hurricane season. And so we're preparing for that in any way we can. The fact that this CIAP funding has been blocked, has not gotten to the coastal states, including Louisiana, as was intended by 2010, is a real problem in that regard. So we need to do better. And this amendment streamlines the process so that we can do better. Now, this amendment also retains the oversight mechanism in the underlying bill. As the plain language of CIAP in the bill says, if the Secretary determines that any expenditure made by a producing state is not consistent with the underlying plan, then the state may not be dispersed any further funds until repayment of the unauthorized use of already obligated funds. So clearly there is that mechanism for complete accountability. In addition, a state CIAP plan has to be approved to begin with by MMS, and that has already occurred. So again, Madam President, this gets back to the intent of the statute. It gets back to the timeline of the statute. It streamlines that process so that we can get on with it. 100% of these funds were supposed to be distributed by 2010. Instead, we're at the 15% mark, and that simply isn't good enough when important hurricane and other uses of this money is planned on by vulnerable states like Louisiana.